Hello, my name is Allison from Blossoming Heart Counseling. Today we'll be doing a practice for our lower body. We'll be linking the breath to the movement. And I encourage you to make this practice your own. If you feel called to do any modifications or to go at a separate pace or a different pace than I'm going, I encourage you to listen to your body's needs. We're going to start cross-legged with our right leg in front. If you want to start with your left, you can. And my legs are not crossed with my right leg under, but my right leg is slightly in front of my left. And we're just going to start by leaning forward. So on your inhale, go ahead and raise your arms overhead. And as you exhale, lean forward from the waist as far as is comfortable. You never want to experience any sharp pain, so listen to your body's unique needs. We're just going to hold this pose. You might notice some stretching in your glutes on either your right or left side, maybe even into the hip and the side of the leg. You might also notice some stretching in the low back. I have my back flat, but you also could curve your back if that felt more comfortable. And on the next exhalation, we're just going to walk our hands and our arms over our right knee. And it doesn't matter which side you start with, we're going to do both sides. And you might notice that this creates a little bit of a stretch in the side body. Again, you want to listen to your body's unique needs, and you never want to experience any sharp pain. I encourage you to allow the left seat and hip to press down into the earth rather than lifting up, which will help deepen the stretch and keep your hips balanced. And go ahead and walk your hands and your arms so that you are resting over your left knee. You might notice a stretch now in the right side body. You might experiment with deepening the breath so that you feel it in the lower rib cage, the back and the abdomen. Go ahead and walk centered, and then walk yourself up. We're going to go ahead to the other side. So whichever leg you had in front is now going to be on the inside, and whichever leg you had on the inside is now going to be in front. For me, my left leg is in front. On the inhale, raise your arms overhead. And on the exhale, lean forward. You might notice that this side feels a little different than the other side. It is normal to have asymmetry, but just notice the difference. It's normal for the mind to wander during our mindfulness yoga practice. And if you feel called to do so, I encourage you to bring your awareness back to your breath. In our yoga practice, we are practicing being with our breath and our sensations and our thoughts as the witnesser. And we are witnessing them with compassion rather than engaging with them. And when you feel ready, you're going to go ahead and walk your hands over to one side. I'm starting with my left. Again, you never want to experience any sharp pain, so make any adjustments that you feel you would like to ensure that there's no sharp pain or discomfort. You want to listen to your body's unique needs. Breathing into the pose. And go ahead and walk your hands over your other knee. Holding for a few breaths. And when you're ready, returning to center and walking your way back up. We're now going to keep our right leg, or if you have your left leg in, that is all right. But we're going to keep our leg that is in the inside in so that it is against our left thigh in my case, possibly your right thigh. And you want your sits bone to be on the ground, sort of balanced, and you're going to inhale, arms overhead. And as you exhale, you're going to twist over the knee that is bent, in my case, my right knee. And again, you never want to experience sharp pain. So just go as deeply as you feel comfortable. And you don't want to settle in or sink into the pose. You want to lift upward through the spine, creating a lengthening, which is wonderful for the vertebrae. And on the next inhalation, bring the right arm up overhead. If you are doing the same side as me, we're just going to begin to rest our opposite arm on the floor next to our leg. Perhaps if you feel comfortable, stretching your arm up and over, keeping your shoulder away from your ear. If it feels comfortable to look up towards your hand, you may do so. If you feel more comfortable looking forward or looking down, those are also options. You might notice a stretch in the side body. You might also notice a stretch in the inner leg or the back of the straight leg. And on the next exhalation, we're just going to shift our bodies so that our sits bone is straight and flat. And we're just going to bend forward over the left leg in my case. And again, listen to your body's unique needs. Just go as deep as you feel no pain. And go ahead and walk yourself up. And we're going to reverse legs. In my case, my right leg is going to go straight and my left leg will be in. And we're going to inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, twist over the knee that is bent. You might also notice a stretch in the groin, in the psoas, in the hip flexors. Everyone will experience a stretch in a different area of their body depending on where your unique body holds tension. And on the next inhale, go ahead and bring your arm overhead and begin to bring your opposite arm to rest next to your leg. As a reminder, you want your shoulder to be down and away from your ear. You want your arm to be in line with your shoulder, over your head. And you may choose to look upward, forward, or down, listening to your unique needs, making this practice your own. On the next exhalation, go ahead and readjust so that your sits bone is on the floor. And go ahead and bend over the straight leg. Again, if your mind begins to wander, just acknowledge that parts of yourself are thinking and just gently remind them to bring their awareness back to the breath, to this moment where you are nourishing and caring for your mind, body, and spirit. Go ahead and make your way back to a forward position. This time bringing both legs out towards the side. Everybody's body is different, so if you feel like you need to have your legs closer together, I encourage you to listen to that. If you feel like you have a little bit more capacity for your legs to be in a wider V, I encourage you to listen to that. Again, you never want to experience any sharp pain. We are going to take our arms overhead on the inhale. And as we exhale, bend forward at the hips. And again, you only want to go as far forward as you feel no sharp pain. You will feel some, or you might feel some sensation in the inner thighs, depending on how tight your legs are. You might also experience some sensations in the hamstrings or the back of the legs, maybe even on the sides of the legs. You might also notice some sensation in your hips and low back. If you feel like you need some props, it can be helpful to have blocks or a pillow or a bolster, and you are always welcome to bring props into your practice. holding for a few breath cycles, giving the muscles and the fascia a moment to get used to the pose. The longer you hold a pose, the more opportunity the muscles and the fascia have to release and lengthen. You might experiment with breathing into the areas of your body that you are experiencing any sensations that you might label as uncomfortable. And you might experiment with just naming them as sensations rather than as good or bad. Maybe just accepting their presence as a part of the human experience. And go ahead and make your way back to a seated position. You might want to bring your legs in and just give them a little bit of a shake, which will bring us in line for our next pose. We're going to do a forward fold. So take a moment to realign with your breath. And on your next inhalation, arms overhead. And as you exhale, go ahead and bend forward. There's lots of options for a forward fold. You want to go as far as your body feels comfortable. You never want to experience any pain in the back. You might experience a little bit of sensation in the back of your legs, in your sits bones, in your low back, in your hip flexors. Some people like to round the back. Some people like to have a straight back. I encourage you to listen to what your needs are today and make adjustments that you feel comfortable. If you feel that you need a prop, you can bring a prop in to rest under your belly, between your legs, and just kind of take a moment to settle into the pose. Perhaps reconnecting with your breath. Perhaps encouraging the breath to be in the low back and the low ribs. Go ahead and make your way back to a seated position. And we're going to take a moment to make our way to our back. And it might feel nice to just take a moment to bring your knees into your chest, allowing the knees to rock back and forth, massaging the low back. And when you're ready, go ahead and pause. Perhaps bringing the legs up and out into happy baby. In your happy baby, you might want to rock gently back and forth. You might want to hold. You might want to hold your feet on the outside or the inside. Listen to your body's unique needs. This is a nice hip opener. It also creates some pressure on the sides of the abdomen where the intestines are, which can be a nice release. And it can be a nice release for the low back. When you're ready, go ahead and bring your knees in and allow your feet to go out, perhaps taking a moment to stretch. In a full body stretch, and you might want to play with some movement in your stretch. When you're ready, bringing your right knee in and hugging it. And when you're ready, you're going to extend it up. You might want to use a strap. If you can reach your toe, you might reach your toe, or you might place your hands behind your calves. You might feel a nice stretch in the back of your legs. You want to keep your right hip in line with your left, with your hip against the ground. If your arms are up holding, you might think about keeping the shoulders down. Some people find it more comfortable to keep their opposite leg bent, which sometimes can help you to deepen the stretch. When you're ready, you're going to go ahead and place your, in my case, my right leg, so that your foot is against your left thigh. And we're going to just bring the left thigh in to a reclined pigeon. Again, you don't want to experience any sharp pain, so listen to your body's unique needs. It might feel nice to add a little bit of movement, rocking back and forth. And just settle into the pose. When you're ready, go ahead and allow your feet to come back to the ground for a reset. You might want to extend your legs. Notice what it feels like on the side that you just stretched. You might notice a difference. And if you started with your right leg, you're going to go ahead and bring your left leg in, whatever the opposite leg was. You might take a moment to just massage and feel that compression, which can help to release the lymphatic system. Perhaps strengthening the leg, straightening the leg rather, and holding it where you feel comfortable. If it's more comfortable to have the opposite leg bent, you may do so. Using a strap if that is easier and more comfortable. The practice is yours, so listen to your needs and make adjustments. And this side might be different than the other side, so you might need something different on this side. You might have noticed that on the other side, my leg on the ground was flat and straight, and in this side, I'm wanting the leg to be bent. It's normal to have some asymmetry and to need to adjust for different sides. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and make our way into reclined pigeon on the other side. Again, you might want to add some gentle movement into the pose. And when you're ready, go ahead and release that side. We're just going to do a short bridge pose before we make our way into Shavasana. So you'll want your feet to be near your hips, pressed into the ground. And as you inhale, you're going to push into your feet and raise your pelvis. You want your shoulders to be down and away from your ears. You might even want to pull them in so that they are a little under your back. You have options to bring your arms up to make it more challenging. And as you exhale, go ahead and release. And when you're ready, make your way into Shavasana. Shavasana is the most important pose. It helps with the integration of the practice. We'll just take a moment to settle. If your mind has wandered, maybe encouraging it to come back to the breath. Stay in Shavasana as long as you feel called to do so. And if you're ready, you might add some gentle movement back into your wrists and ankles. You might deepen the breath and extend your body to a full stretch. You might take a moment to transition to one side. When you're ready, returning to a seat. And if you feel called to do so, take a moment to bring your hands into prayer position in front of your heart. And if you feel called to close your eyes or find a soft place to gaze, I encourage you to do so. Taking a moment to give appreciation to yourself for showing up for yourself in this moment of mindfulness and self-care. Perhaps offering gratitude to the teachers that have brought this wisdom to us, as well as the other yogis on their journey of self-exploration. Thank you for taking the time to do some yoga with me today. If you found this video helpful, I hope you will consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, Blossoming Heart Counseling. There are resources for mental health, mindfulness, breath practices, meditations, and yoga. Namaste.